Yeah, Windows definitely out. There's no way Jason's away. No way Jason's away. Daryl might be away.
Well, here's the thing. It's streaming, it's recording. If they see it now, great. If they don't, surprise when you wake up, surprise when you see this. We're live, JC Penni podcast with special guests. I've long said I wanted to do this where we get multiple people on the podcast. We did the test run with Daryl to do it virtually. We've got 5 people on the podcast, 3 of whom are in the semifinals in our league, 2 of whom aren't even in the league. So it's going to be kind of an open table discussion. We'll go through the playoff round 1 recaps as well as the Sacko Bowl semifinal recaps. And then we'll talk previews of the semifinals for the playoffs and previews of our Sacko Bowl. And I'm interested to see the reaction that our 2 special guests have to our Sacko punishment because it is, I think, fairly good. So before we get started, just introductions, everybody. In the top right corner is Wes. He's a friend of the show, friend from college. Friend of the podcast. Obviously, Zach, the person who's going to lose in the semifinals to me, is in the left middle column. Jerry is, as you can see, on the right middle. Friend from college, Ben Andres, in the bottom left, and yours truly on the bottom right. Let's get right into, and you all, one thing I'll do really quick before we get too into the weeds, I want to make sure I will share my screen with everybody on the podcast just so you all can see what I'm looking at. So looking back at our week playoff round 1 matchups, I guess I'm just going to start at the top with James and I. Man, I was sweating.
Yeah. So one of the things I thought you guys were I said to you that both. And you're welcome. I had to. Of course.
I mean, this was like, I was texting James throughout this matchup, and it was like, I kept saying to him, like, neither of us deserve to lose this game. It's a shame somebody has to.
So Sean, even if you're those players, we're still putting most weeks good enough.
Right.
Like the rest of your team actually performed pretty well.
No, I agree, and that's why I'm saying it is a shame that someone had to lose this game.
So when I did say that, it was 3 consecutive weeks of 130 plus.
And the thing is, like, we are the top 2 scorers in the league this week. That's just, it's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me that we are the top 2 scorers in the league this week and ended up playing each other.
So I will say, I had a disagreement with Jerry. He ended up. We were debating how often 140 plus gets put up. And I said, that's like 3 times a season or 3 times. And he was like, no, it's closer to once. So it was closer to once a week. Closer to once a week. I think it was exactly on the money once a week. So it's still really unfortunate. Once in a week performance, still lose. But it's actually quite as insane to me on first look. Teams are putting up on roughly 10% of the time.
Well,
which is crazy to me. Apparently that's good at 142. You're only gonna it's like 10% of the time also have 140.
The scariest part about this matchup honestly was the fact that there were so many other points sitting on the bench. Specifically, if I put T.Y. Hilton, I mean, not that I would, but if I put actually, I was thinking about it, T.Y. Hilton instead of Marvin Jones, that's another, 15 or so points. If I put Baker Mayfield in, not that I would against Baltimore, but Baker Mayfield instead of Phillip Rivers, another 13 points. And James is the same way. Cam Akers sitting on his bench. Now, granted, he wouldn't have had as much because all of his running backs produced, but it's just there were points out there, especially on my team, on my bench, that I did not end up getting. But overall, what a game! Happy to be moving on.
I also is there ever been a time like someone puts up 150 plus got 2 points either kicker and defense? Like usually when like a ridiculous like your kicker and defense are at least putting up 15, right? Like
So yes, I guess we can go back and analyze how he's put up 150 points. We also got to remember, like, there's a lot of years where you're static if your tight end gets you not. He got 21 out of Mike Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki's been hot. I mean, the frustrating part about this is, and this is the only reservation I have about my team, is the tight end position moving forward. Because Mike Gesicki, until this, he had a big injury against the Chiefs. He had put up 19.3 last week, 21 this week, and even against the Jets he put up 10. Now, granted, it's the Jets, but like he's had a touchdown in each of the last 3 weeks and 2 this past week against Kansas City. And then he goes out with an injury. He is likely to miss this week. It looked like a dislocation.
He's almost certain.
He might be done for the year. And my backup tight end is Hayden Hurst. I'm just out at tight end now because Hayden Hurst has been as good as Mike Gesicki's been. Hayden Hurst has been the opposite.
Yeah, two catches in the last 2 weeks. Not great.
No. So, but either way, the bottom line is I will take what I can get, which in this case is a trip to the semifinals, which is my, I think, 4th trip to the semifinals in 12 seasons, which isn't a great clip, but I'll take it.
I'm not mad that James.
He was a favorite to win it all. He had been crushed. He was the hottest team in the league.
I was like, no, I understand you're super scary this week. But it's like, okay, who would I rather pick next week? Like, I feel like what you picked was everyone did ridiculous games. Like James puts up 150. It's okay. This could happen next week too.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, you look at up and down James's roster. It's like Sean got 30 points, like 30 points. Like as we were kind of 30 points out of players is pretty rare. No one on his team above 23. Like the fact that he still put up almost 143, no one went above. We didn't have that window had that point where Tyreek drops first half. No, this is all exactly what you said. These are all performances that you would not be surprised these guys had it next week. Outside of Washington 2020, that probably would not.
And like Zach said, not to dovetail on this, but like Zach said, I mean, he got 30 almost out of his kicker in defense versus my 2.75. I mean, 6 out of a kicker, 23 out of the defense. Well, that's what I'm saying. 30, a disparity on the two most random elements of fantasy, a defense and a kicker, a disparity of 29 to 2.75. That's a huge handicap he had in his favor.
No, but Sean talking about yours and his. Let's say he's at 130. He's at 130.
Yeah,
that's enough to win most.
No, I agree.
Whereas obviously, I expect to do I ever expect to win 150 next week? Do you want to bet him on odds? Of course not. Whereas James, if it's James, I'd be like, still might bet, but I'd be a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Makes sense. We'll move on because we've talked enough about my matchup. Is Ben still in the chat? I don't.
He's in and out a couple of times.
Okay. I will leave his screen there because he's just froze. Oh, actually, I'm gonna hide his screen for now. If he comes back in, someone just let me know and I'll bring him back in the chat. Shit. Give me 1 second. Sorry. All right. So, and you know what? Since I'm doing that, oh yeah, look at that. You're getting me big. All right. Phrasing. Moving on to match number 2. Congratulations, Jerry. Job's not finished. LeBlanc.
What's there to be happy about?
All right, Kobe, calm down. But he kills McMillan, and McMillan, the points leader this season, a great team on paper, and really, I think you said no, he had a great team on paper this season. He's the points leader, and I will tell you,
no, he's the points leader.
One of the things you said on the last episode was, if you're not putting up 115 at least in these playoff matchups, you're probably losing.
Yeah.
Your litmus test was right.
He had a few spots where like Pittsburgh just on. Multiple players. Part of the reason why I benched Claypool Brown. And after I was thrilled with it. I mean, he only got 7.5. Claypool put up 3. Like I don't know. Obviously, his team. I feel like his team is overperformed this year. But one of the best last week he had this huge fucking week. Darren Waller dropped 40. And what did he do? He came back down to earth. I said I wouldn't be surprised if Darren Waller gets 15. He got 11. I mean, not that I guess I would overall. Where's Terry McLaurin on the season? 17. Beginning of the season, I said I'm not big on Terry McLaurin. I know, Sean, you definitely were. 17. I guess I wouldn't have even. I don't know where I would say. Obviously, it's hard to say 15 weeks later. Oh, where would I have ranked him in the year? Like, I guess I'd probably say a wide receiver 2. I wouldn't have expected him to be a wide receiver 1. So he's kind of where I'm at, but like that killed him this week. He needed Terry McLaurin to have a good day, and yeah, 3.4 there is rough.
Yeah, no, I mean, there were a lot of things wrong with McMillan's team. Also, Mahomes had objectively one of his worst games as a pro.
3 interceptions
against Miami. Miami's defense is great against the pass. It's not as good against the run, but one of the best pass defenses in the league right now. They're forcing turnovers. Xavier Howard, by the way, might be the best cornerback in football. Every week he makes a pick. Did you see his pick this past week?
Saw it.
Insane.
He's very good.
So obviously McMillan, hugely disappointing. He also, had Julio Jones out on injury.
That hurt. I mean, I feel like that gave a little bump to Calvin Ridley too.
Yep. And I got to tell you, it's entirely his own doing. I just want to look back at my matchup for a second, only to my bench. Well, I guess it wouldn't have mattered. I had offered him. I think I may have offered him Brandon Ayuk for Ben Roethlisberger when I was desperate for a quarterback. I may have made that offer. I was trying to get him to drop him for Beasley, but I'm pretty sure I made the offer for Ayuk for Big Ben. Would have helped. Wouldn't have made the difference, but might have helped.
Yeah, this is like it's funny. I was complaining about it last week. I know I've complained about it enough to Zach, but like it just seems like I couldn't get a game where I wasn't playing against like 120, 130 points. So I knew I needed big weeks to be able to win here. It's like, and Zach messaged me. He's like, so I guess you finally get a game again that's less than 100. And I'm like, yeah, and I won. Imagine that. Like, it's like, I feel like my team is kind of built to not just go out there and I feel like I did have like one game this year where I put up like 80 points or something. But like, it's like, no, like I play against 130 all year. Oh, hey, look, I come out and I get a 92-point game and it's not close. And one thing I will say that, like, I know I kind of said it last week, like my team's kind of built for the playoffs. Like, look at my roster right now of last week and this week. Is there any performance that's like, well, that's not going to happen again?
I mean, oh no, not that. I'm just saying. I thought you were saying, is there any performance that was disappointing? In which case, there are several.
Oh no, there were some disappointing things, but I'm saying, like, is there anyone who overperformed by so much that you're like, well, like last week with James with Darren Waller when he dropped 38.5 points, it was kind of like.
I would say,
like, he's not going to do that again. It's like on my team, like, is there anyone that you're like, well, he's clearly never going to do that again?
I would say that not never, but like, I would say that you had a couple guys who overperformed. Like one on your bench was Miles Sanders, who I think overperformed. I think that's about his ceiling. He was obviously buoyed by multiple touchdowns.
Well, yeah. So yeah, Miles Sanders is frustrating because like he's had like 3 shit weeks, and then he comes out. The thing is, though, he has that big play potential. Like earlier in the year when he put up like 23 points on Pittsburgh, he had a huge run. I think it was against LA maybe that he had like another like 60-something yard touchdown. So like, of course I bench him, and in like the first quarter he has that like 84-yard touchdown runs.
Right.
Of course he does. Like
Right.
because of course he does. Obviously 27. Like I'm not expecting Miles Sanders to put up 30, but I did draft him in the 3rd round. He was expected to be that borderline RB1, definitely an RB2 type of guy. Like I'm hoping for 15, 20 points out of him when I start him.
No,
obviously 27 is an overperformance.
Right. So that would be. Oh, sorry.
The one thing I'll say is I agree 100% with Jerry. Like, no, like you expect to see this. Like, there's nothing outstanding. Like, obviously everyone like performed as you expect or slightly better. The one thing I will say though is like, okay, it was great this week when you're playing against 92. Window this week on a bye put up 131. You would have lost if you played him this week. I mean, we'll see what happens next week. I think you're projected to win by something like 10, but like, so you're going to have to like continue to perform to that. You can't just be like, oh well, I could potentially match what I did this week. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, but I also just as easily put up 147. Like, I was still on the fence about Miles Sanders going into the 1:00 games. If New Orleans defense was not the number 1 ranked defense against running backs, and they were the number 8 ranked running back against defense, I probably still would have started Miles Sanders just because he still does have that big play potential. Now, obviously, Windows team still did very well. I'm trying to look at like what he started.
Speaking
really
of which,
so
not to interrupt, but Window has, I believe, joined the call.
Yeah, I didn't know he joined the call. I messaged him.
What's up?
Watch it.
Hey, buddy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
So it looks like Christian McCaffrey probably not going to play again this week. So Mike Davis is also one of those guys where I like. Obviously, you look at how he started off this year. When he came in for relief of Christian McCaffrey early in the year, 19, 25. He fell off a fucking cliff after that. 10, 6, 8, 6, 6, 15. Finally had a good week, 9 before. And then off the bye against Denver, he comes out huge, 23.8 points. Mike Davis could be like the big determining fact this week. Like, I think Tyreek Hill is going to fucking put up 25 points no matter what. Because
we'll talk matchups more.
Obviously we're still on the recap. We're still on the recap.
Yeah,
that's not my fault. Zach distracted me there.
Come on, Zach.
I'm the one who brought that up, but no, but it's important to keep note of, right? Like the goal.
Obviously, so
like you have to talk about how you're going to do. Yeah, you're gonna talk. You have to talk about how you're going to do going forward. Like your 126 is obviously good enough to win this week. It wouldn't have been if you played either of Sean, James, or Window. That's the only point I was trying to make.
But your point to I was literally saying like no one on my team did anything crazy. Also, I had multiple underperformances, so like I still feel like my ceiling is high enough to move on to the championship. Like that was kind of the point.
Of course,
no one that I started drastically overperforming. No. I did have multiple underperformances.
So maybe sorry, Sean. This will be the last thing I say.
You're good.
I don't think anyone will be shocked if either Jerry or Window wins. I feel like both of their teams are solid. Both their teams have like honestly high floors and high ceilings. Like,
yeah. I also think just the only thing I was going to chime in with, and I like the only other guy I think you could even make a case that he overperformed what he normally would do is maybe Calvin Ridley, and it's only because Julio was out, so there's a little more in terms of targets. He was, I know, actually, you can make the case that he had a foot issue, I think, because I think he was looked at by the trainers in the loss to the Chargers. But obviously, that was his best total since week 2. I don't think it was like astronomically beyond what he normally does, but I do think it was a little higher than normal. But I think he's certainly capable of repeating it.
I think he averages 18 points per game.
Right.
If I'm correct, I think it's like 18 points, or maybe it's a little bit less than that. Okay, so I don't know if his average points counts when he doesn't play or not. Maybe not. But 15.7. He's the number 7 fantasy wide receiver. If you're starting a wide receiver 1, you're never shocked if they get you 22.
No, and I'm not saying he's not capable of repeating it, but I'm just saying like he's only achieved that feat of 20 or more 3 times this season. So I'm not saying I wouldn't consider that the norm. I would consider that more of like I'm not saying 22 is his ceiling. I think like probably 28 or 29 is, but I do think it was a little bit higher than average for him. Now, and we're splitting hairs here. We can move on to the Sacko Bowl matchups. Couple interesting. I mean, I don't think either of the Sacko Bowl matchups were surprising, but it's always certainly interesting to see who ends up playing for last. Jason Smith's nightmare continues, and Daryl puts up a great week to avoid finding himself in the Sacko Bowl. And
I just want to say good for Daryl and Nick.
So my question is, if Daryl and Nick had somehow ended up, oh no, they would have played either you or James. Sorry, I was thinking like if they'd somehow eked it out, they would have played McMillan and won, but that's not actually true because of the wild card.
No, they would have. They would have. If Daryl Daryl would have played. Yeah, James or myself. I mean, here's the interesting thing. Daryl had Deebo Samuel go out almost immediately.
It was the first play of the game.
Yeah, very first play of the game. A 4-yard catch goes out for the game, and I was walking Ruby. Daryl texts me and is like pissed off as all hell about it. Like this always fucking happens, blah blah blah. And he still found a way, and it was in large part. I posted about it. I think the night before the Monday night game, or maybe it was even on Monday night. It came down to the Cleveland Browns. The Nick Chubb was more involved than Jarvis Landry with the offense, which isn't necessarily surprising.
I mean, Jarvis Landry has been disappointing for the vast majority of the year.
Yeah.
The last few
3
weeks,
games were in terrible weather, though.
Was the Baltimore game in terrible weather?
Cleveland, Texans, and something else.
He plays for Cleveland.
I know, the home game in Cleveland. One of those games.
Well, I'm just saying in that game against Baltimore it was cold, but I don't know that.
Okay. Well, I was more saying like throughout the course of this season, where did he draft Jarvis Landry? Actually, later than I thought. He drafted Jarvis Landry in the 7th round. That's actually much later than I thought.
If I told you, Jerry, that Jarvis Landry has, how many times would you guess without looking at the screen? I hope you haven't looked at it yet. How many times would you say Jarvis Landry has broken double digits? He's played in 13 games.
I think it's like 3 or 4. I remember like talking because I remember there was a point in time. Not pretty sure. It was definitely the week that Jason played you. He got his first touchdown out of Jarvis Landry. It was Jarvis Landry throwing a touchdown pass, but it was to OBJ, who you had started against him. So yeah, if I had to guess like 3 or 4 times, like yes, no, maybe
4.
I can't see your thing's like so small.
Sorry,
4 times?
4
He's
times.
broken double digits?
4 times.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, no, he's clearly underperformed throughout the course of the year, but it was like the last like 2 weeks he's finally actually playing well. I don't know if this like coincided with OBJ tearing his ACL and being out.
No,
but it
was Baker. Baker finally took a major step forward. And has been playing lights out lately. OBJ's been injured for a while. Trust me, I know because I lost him.
Yeah. I don't remember what week he went out, but I know like the last couple of weeks, Jarvis Landry has finally been playing well. And he didn't have a terrible week. If he finds the end zone one time, it's a fine week, like 14, 15 points. I mean, he still had 9 targets against Baltimore. I'm looking at it now. Like he had 9 targets against 9 targets is still like really solid. So clearly, obviously, like I think he had a 1-point lead when he had Nick Chubb versus Jarvis Landry. Like, I don't know. It was one of these situations where like the trade that Jason and I made came back to haunt him again. 6.9 out of Ezekiel Elliott. Adam Thielen underperforms 5.9 or 5.4. I'm sorry. Like what we were talking about earlier. Like James got 30 points out of his defense. So did Jason this week.
And no matter what lineup Jason Smith would have started, he couldn't have caught the lineup Daryl started with Deebo Samuel even being injured for the entire game. There's no combination. The only change that would have improved it, the best change that could have helped him, would have been putting in Curtis Samuel instead of Adam Thielen, which no one would ever do. It would have netted him somewhere around 7.1 points. It still wouldn't have made up the margin. Everything else, he actually played correctly.
I just want to say that congrats to Daryl for winning because, Sean, you've always lost to players in the middle of the matchup, and I don't think you've ever won a single one of those matchups. But Daryl finally, he's 1 for 2 because running back
he's
from
had to have
Kansas.
Won some of them because he says it happens to him every single week, and he has more than 0 wins. So
true.
Let me also really quick. I'm gonna see if I well, if you guys will just continue to discuss this matchup for just one more moment, I'm gonna see if I can't get Windows camera on here as well.
I will say I'm pretty sure that he could have started Derek Carr over Kyler Murray, but I think he had like the perfect lineup out there. I guess he also the Bears defense. Okay, maybe not quite the perfect lineup. I was a little surprised to see him bench CEH after. I mean, it makes sense after in week 13 him being essentially a healthy scratch in the game and getting him nothing. But yeah, I was a little surprised to see him bench CEH. He also got into the problem with the Antonio Gibson injury, which again, it doesn't matter. He won the game, but I don't know. I'm just seeing a lot of zeros on Daryl's bench right now, and it's making me laugh.
Is Wes still here?
Sometimes you don't need a bench. If you got 7 good starters, just run them to the ground.
Yeah, I think Wes also. I was expecting Wes to chime in, and he just kind of kept his mic muted the whole time.
Yeah, I'm gonna remove him. Hang on, and I'll bring Window on here.
I thought you dropped. Yeah.
Give me 1 sec. While we're doing it, I'll let you guys start talking about our last semifinal matchup. Sacko semifinal, which was Brad over Alex, which shows there is justice in this world.
This one was a lot more entertaining to watch.
So, I will say right now, like, obviously, we all know Jason's been unlucky. Okay, this is tying in for both of these matchups here. So we all know that Jason has been unlucky. Obviously, the first couple of weeks he was like averaging like 150, 160 points against every single week. Now the thing here that I think is going to be like so funny, and it would like perfectly round out the season is okay. I'm trying to find where the fuck is the schedules at. I'm trying to find that really quick. Why can't I do this? This is making me mad. Okay. Full schedule. There it is. Okay. Alex's team has been hot garbage for a long time. So since he played Jason, where he put up 162.52 points. Going back to Jason's bad season. Like before that week.
And my trade.
Okay. So he put up. He actually looked like he was turning his season around. He started out 1-4, had 3 consecutive weeks less than 90 points. He puts up 119 points to get a win against me. Puts up 162 to get a win against Jason. Looks like he's turning his team around. He fails to score more than what is it, 93 points the entire rest of the season. I don't know how many times you're going to get a win with less than 93 points. He did, by the way. He did get 2 of those. Once against Daryl in week 13 and once against Brad in week 11. Now he goes back, falls back down, gets less than 84 points, loses to Brad. It is going to be so funny if Alex goes out and drops like 150 points on Jason to avoid the Sacko. Because if there's any team that deserves it this year, it is Alex's team.
Alex is also projected to win by ESPN projections right now.
Because of course he is.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I still picked like, and we'll get to that anyway later. But like, no, I still pick Jason to win, but it's just gonna be so funny if Alex wins that.
Yeah, I'm rooting for my good boys there. James Robinson
if Jason puts up like 95 points and loses, it's gonna be like, okay, it is what it is. His team didn't perform. But I think it will be just like so much more like hilarious if Jason has like a decent week, puts up like 115, but no, it doesn't matter because Alex drops like 140.
I mean, remember, so we'll talk more about predictions in a minute, but this has been, just to talk about Jason Smith one more time before we talk about this matchup. Jason Smith, as we'll all know, set a league record in 12 years. And granted, scoring has been inflated the last couple years with the addition of decimal scoring, with the addition of half PPR. Yeah. Like, those things that inflated scoring league, why we expected these records to be broken. But he broke a league record, like, for the last 3 seasons that could have been broken at any point, for most total points against.
So Sean, obviously he did. But like Jerry and I were talking about this earlier, like there were a lot of the games he had a matchup where his opponent put up 170, right, and he put up like 100. What's the difference between a 170 to 100 and 110 to 100? When you're looking at total points against, it's an extra 50 points. When you're looking at like okay, realistically, what difference did it make? It's not that big.
It's a guaranteed loss, though.
And if you and if you look at his points scored, it was the eighth worst in points scored. Like it wouldn't have changed anything whether he got the most points against or like an average points against. Like he still wasn't making the playoffs. That's
ninth.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Ninth in total points, but he was basically tied with Brad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, no, like obviously, like no, he got really unlucky to do that, but it wouldn't have made a difference if he had an average points against. He still wasn't making the playoffs.
Well, let's talk about this matchup really quick, and then we'll go into predictions. The matchup between Brad and I'm trying to, for some reason it's freezing on mine. We'll stop it and restart it. That's frustrating. Oops, there's two. What? I can do this. Do one better. Boom. All right. Playoff round one.
So, really quick, just to touch on that again. Like, so Jason scored less than 105 points in 11 of 14 weeks. 105 is usually
the cutoff.
I think the average is actually somewhere in the range of 110 to 120. So like, but I feel like that factors in a lot of people getting that like weird random like, hey, I dropped 68 points this week. And like, I feel like every team had a week like that this year.
Yeah.
Where they just like so drastically underperformed and yet still have an average of like 110 to 115.
So looking at this matchup, obviously like I said, either team could have lost this matchup off the bat. Like disappointment on both sides. DJ Chark 2.6, Panthers D went negative. Todd Gurley 4.1, Corey Davis 2.9.
I tried to make a trade with Brad. I think in like maybe a weekend right before I did the trade with Jason. I sent a message to Brad and was like, "Yo, what you want for Gurley?" And I was ready to throw like Zeke plus a wide receiver for Gurley.
Wow.
And I am so because I was just so afraid of Zeke's like dwindling value. And I think it was right. Actually, it was right coming off of the bye. Actually, no, it was the bye week. It was week 10. And look at, if you can open it up really quick, look at what Gurley has done since I tried to make a trade offer with Brad.
I'll pull it up right now.
It was a bye. It was definitely the bye week because I was not going to be able to have Todd Gurley for that week.
3.4 scratch, 2.5, 4.1.
Like, thank you, Brad. You might have saved my season. If I win the title, it's going to be in small part. It will be because of you, Brad. Thank you. I mean, I straight up was like, at the time, because he kind of gave me a response. It's like, nothing on your team is going to make my team better. And I was kind of like, I don't know how that's possible. But
here's the interesting, the one interesting thing for the Sacko Bowl. And I want to full disclosure this. Alex texts me on Tuesday, right? And he says, "Hey man, so I'm playing in the Sacko Bowl. I'm interested in making a waiver wire pick, but I don't obviously want it to be scummy that like, you know, if it's like I know it might be an unwritten rule that like playoff teams only should be making waiver picks in the postseason.
That's not true at all.
And I said to him,
well, hold on. This was after he is no longer in contention for the Sacko.
No.
Or before.
He is in contention for the Sacko.
He's in the Sacko Bowl.
He's in the Sacko Bowl.
Okay, then yeah, no, he's totally good then.
Right, and that's what I said to him, you're playing to avoid Waffle House. You can do whatever the fuck you want towards that end. So
I would say right now if Brad or James
Sure.
picks up a random waiver claim right now, that's a problem.
I agree. For James McMillan,
is that true?
For
James best he's playing for 5th right now.
For James McMillan, Brad, and Daryl, it doesn't matter.
Like the 4 teams who are no longer playing for anything, I don't think should be doing any ad drops.
I agree.
Wholeheartely. But what I'm saying is, so the reason that's important is because Alex obviously has been incredibly frustrated with Matt Ryan all season long, and rightfully so. He has been a major disappointment of a quarterback. The last 4 weeks, he hasn't broken 13 points.
He got 7.5 points.
Right. He was awful.
That's not an outlier.
What does Alex
Calvin Ridley got this week?
That was Russell Gage, right?
Yeah.
What does Alex do to rectify this problem? He drops over $200 to grab Jalen Hurts, and I was livid because I was like, "Fuck!"
Of course,
I threw my entire budget at him.
So Sean, $200 is one thing. It's not a big deal. Like it's like okay, this is his last. No, Sean, this is his last week of the year. He has to put all of his budget in anyone he wants.
Listen, I think it's a good move. I don't disagree. I'm saying I was frustrated not with his move because I thought that was a great move. I was frustrated that I couldn't get Jalen Hurts because I absolutely wanted Jalen Hurts because I threw my entire budget at him.
Did you only have $75 left?
I had $75 left in my budget. I threw it all at him.
Wait, who's your quarterback now then? You're that desperate.
I have a 3-man quarterback
like
committee.
30 this week. You just keep rotating quarterbacks who keep underperforming.
No, that's not true.
Don't you have like 4 quarterbacks?
I have 3. I have Phillip Rivers.
As if that's better.
Stafford.
I have Phillip Rivers. I have Baker Mayfield. I have Matt Stafford. Baker Mayfield has been playing lights out the last couple weeks, but he was playing Baltimore's defense. Didn't trust him this week. He's also got I think a tough matchup this week. I can't remember off the top of my head, but instead I was thinking Jalen Hurts, maybe even a top 10.
By the way, it's not a tough matchup.
Who is it?
The New York Giants.
Their defense is sneaky.
Like, either way, my point was that I wanted a good matchup this week, and Jalen Hurts is, I believe, playing the Jets this week or the Chargers or someone? He's playing someone easy. He's playing Arizona.
He plays Dallas next week.
No, but he plays Arizona this week.
Okay.
And I thought that's a pretty good matchup. I wanted to try to snipe Jalen Hurts quick and see how he does. But it didn't work out. It's fine. But it's a great move from Alex's perspective because that's his biggest weakness as a quarterback. And that really brings us to the 2 semifinals in our Sacko Bowl. So, Window, I'm going to let you pick. Are we? This is so great because this podcast is literally the 4 semifinalists.
Really quick before you jump into that next thing, I said like you just kind of keep rotating quarterbacks, you keep underperforming. So they haven't all drastically. You have had some bad performances out of it, but since Dak, how many times do you think your quarterback has gone above 20 points?
Like 3.
Less.
Oh my lord, that's gross. Didn't Dak get
Zero.
Like what?
Zero. You have not had a 20-point
That's
performance out of your
amazing.
quarterback since Dak got hurt.
Can we just appreciate the fact that I have lost Dak? I have lost OBJ. I have lost Teddy Bridgewater was playing well before he got injured. I lost Zach Ertz for most of the season. Then
You also still put up like 150 this week.
Dak, OBJ. Who else did you say?
Dak and OBJ are my 2 big ones. I really don't have much.
Okay, so Dak and OBJ. And in this podcast alone, you have someone who lost Saquon Barkley in week 1. You have someone who has missed Christian McCaffrey for like 10 of the 13 weeks. And I, only on my second pick, has missed out on Austin Eckler for 8 or 9 weeks. I don't want to hear it from you, bro. Like, everybody here has had a problem.
Get wrecked.
This is actually pretty insane how like we've all had such drastic injuries, and somehow we're in the Final 4. Like
everyone had injuries.
Like
Windows saved his season by throwing his budget at Mike Davis.
He did.
For the first 4 weeks. Because there was literally a point in time, Window, you and I were having a conversation. It was like, yo, if you lose another week, I might be making it. Like I was, because my team was so good at the beginning, and we just both like flipped.
Yeah.
Like you all of a sudden couldn't lose, and I all of a sudden couldn't win.
No, and like I'm pretty sure last I saw like McCaffrey isn't playing this week. Like
he is doubtful. He is not going to.
Yeah. So you're going to be playing against Mike Davis, who like has been doing honestly close to as well as McCaffrey.
It's a testament to.
I talked about this earlier. For the first 3 weeks, Mike Davis played great. He fell off a cliff. He had like 1 double-digit performance in the next 9 weeks. This last week, he shot back up, had 2 touchdowns, got like 24 points. But like, if you look between like last week and like week like 5, it was a lot of single-digit days.
It's because of the bye. He's an old man, dude.
Well,
you need that bye.
To bring it full circle, Jerry, one of the things you said, like you said, I haven't had a 20-point performance out of my quarterback. Like, don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have had Dak all season because I think I would have won the championship with Dak in all season. Even if we like everyone here says, okay, you can have your player back. Imagine if I had Dak, Derrick Henry, and Devontae Adams, coupled with whatever else I can throw up. I mean, we're talking about 100 points between those three players some weeks. Like,
imagine if I had my team plus Saquon. Imagine if Window had his team plus McCaffrey.
Plus Christian.
Oh,
Every
and
time
Kittle.
McCaffrey's been on the field,
I
he's
lost
put up,
Kittle
like, 30.
too.
He did also lose Kittle.
Yeah, imagine
all right,
Kittle.
all right.
You're
What I'm saying is,
also, did any running back lose more value when their quarterback went out than
Zeke? Obviously.
Zeke was
Hold on. My
three guy at
point.
the time.
My point was that what I did with this quarterback committee is I figured I've got Davante Adams and Derrick Henry dropping together 50 a week, right? I've got enough like Jonathan Taylor, Brandon Ayuk, and some flex player who are going to put up between them probably another 30 or so. So I really just need to, and my defense and kicker are going to put up about at least 10 to 15. I really just need a floor of 15. I need to make sure I don't have Matt Ryan throwing up 8 a game.
Minshew.
I'm sorry,
Minshew.
Sean. I'm sorry, Sean. I need to like interrupt that because you're talking about how like you can expect that fucking Davante Adams and Derrick Henry can put up a floor of like 2025 or whatever, which honestly now is true. But when you like it I don't know, just the way you phrase that is like you're acting like, oh, you had a genius draft. It's like, no, you got really lucky.
It wasn't a draft. I'm not. No, hold on. I'm not saying a draft. Okay. I'm saying when Dak went out, I made a couple of trade offers to see if I could get something else. But then when I realized that I couldn't get any of the targets I wanted for the postseason, I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going QB committee. I'm going to pick up a couple people based on matchups on the waiver wire. And one of the best moves I made, honestly, was Phillip Rivers, because while his ceiling has not been high, his floor has been. He has had a stable floor every week that I've been starting him, and I can trust him for 15, 16, 17 a game, so I don't have to worry about someone like Tua throwing up 8. It's making sure I have that floor so I'm not really getting hurt on those matchups.
Yeah, that's fair. I just wanted to make sure you weren't like.
It wasn't a draft strategy.
I was a genius during the draft, and
it was,
now I can be
flying by the seat of my fucking pants.
As like the first 5 weeks, I was also doing the QB committee because I didn't trust Tom Brady being old. I had Drew Brees being old, and I had Minshew. And I forgot what week it was, but sorry, Sean, I picked up Justin Herbert, and for a good time, it's going off 20 plus points a game until the last 3 weeks, which is not good for this week's matchup.
Yeah. And let's actually.
But I gotta start him.
So let's.
Is like that. Just.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying like quarterback's just that position where like 20 is good. Anything below 20, you shouldn't be happy. 20 is good. 25 is what you're hoping for. 30 is great. It's weird that it's like there's so much. Quarterbacks are obviously over or undervalued because so many of them can get you 20. It's not happening a ton that they're getting you 30.
So let's go into the sack. Instead of talking about our 4 semifinals, I think it's fair that all 4 of us should be united in talking about the Sacko before we try to tear each other to shreds.
Also, just a little.
Sean, I agree with that. Let me put in something real quick though. As a pitch that exactly what Jerry said, I 100% agree, and that's why next year we should have 2 quarterbacks.
We talked about it, yeah.
That makes quarterbacks way more valuable because now, I mean, no, let's not get into it now. Let's get into the Sacko matchup. But
so
I just want to pitch
Sean,
that
you were talking
real quick.
You were talking about like 50 points per game between Derrick Henry and Davante Adams. How many times do you think that they did that for you this year? 50 points for those 2 players. How many times do you think they did that for you this year? It was more than I thought. I was about to be like, fuck you, it was 0 again. But it was more than 0 this time.
I was going to say, so I know based on what you're saying, it's going to be a low number, but I thought it was at least like 5.
It was not as high. It was not that high. It was 4 times.
Okay, 4 times. I mean, hey.
That's not terrible.
2 players
How many
50
games
points.
do they have?
Yeah. What?
It's like a
How
third
many
of the
40
time.
plus games do they have combined?
Say that one more time, Window. Sorry, Zach was talking at the same time.
How many 40 plus games have they had combined?
40. I was not checking for 40. It was at least a few more though.
Okay.
I mean, I can run through it really quick.
Yeah,
Give me you guys keep talking. I'll run through and see how.
I think they've had. I would say right now, really quick, they've had 40, or between the 2 of them, they've had 40 or more. I would say, at least 7 weeks this season. I would say.
I think in double digits.
I mean, they're monsters, dude. So let's talk about we got to talk about our Sacko Bowl because it's kind of like, even though I know Jason's been super unlucky, it's fitting, right? Like, this is what the Sacko Bowl should be. It should be Jason Smith after the shit he's had to deal with this season. It should be Alex after how bad his drunk drafted team, has done this year. And oddly enough, the projection right now leans Alex. Now, it's a 1% edge, but right now Alex is projected to win by 3 points. So I'm going to actually pull up the box score in a second. But I want to go down. I'm going to go kind of top to bottom here in the order I had the podcast. So, Jerry, I'm going to let you take first. How many times? Six times?
There was only 2 extra times when they went above 40.
Okay.
Together. I think one of those times, though, was like 49, and one of those times was 39. So,
really quick.
So sorry, go ahead.
Just so you see the screen, if you all can see the screen I'm sharing, my favorite thing about this screen is the previous matchup section in Week 7, where Alex dropped 162 on Jason Smith. So obviously you can see the projections there. You can see the advantages, the comparisons, all that kind of stuff. I'll start at the top of the screen, work my way down to the bottom on our stream. So the Jerry, that makes you first. Who you got and why?
This is for the Sacko matchup, right?
This is the Sacko Bowl, and it is.
So remember, it is not showing your screen share right now on my screen. So I'm opening up their matchup on my computer.
Okay, I'll let you. While you open that up, I just want to say, I did open up, as we discussed on last week's podcast. I posted on Facebook regarding the possibility of a 2-week Sacko Bowl. I think it's a fantastic idea moving forward. But I also understand. I think I don't know if it was Brad or Zach who posted, like, fantasy is, there is some randomness to it. It is,
It was Brad.
I actually thought there was merit in that argument too. I'd be fine either
There's
way.
already a lot of so here's the thing, like, obviously there's randomness and there's luck in fantasy football. Duh. But if there's anything that we're gonna say should have a little bit less, I'm not even saying it should be the championship. I'm saying it should not be getting last.
Yeah.
No, especially with the implications of what it means.
No, when you're talking about the last 2 teams, also it's not that big of a difference. Like, it's like, okay, like it's not like we're talking about the best team versus the worst team. We're talking about the last 2 teams.
But either way,
even Alex said he was good. Alex and Jason said they were good going forward, changing it. It was just this year Alex didn't want to change.
Yeah. So that was one of the things.
I think we're fine.
I sent the text message to all 4 of the guys who were in the bottom half, and I immediately got a response from Brad that was like, yeah, I'm good with it. Pretty quickly, I think Alex was the first one who's just kind of like, oh, I don't like changing things midseason, like, which for a lot of things I agree with. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, Alex, this also helps you more than anybody. Like, I feel like this is one of those spots where, like, there's no money involved. It doesn't change how you, like, especially this, like, it was one of those things, like, because in theory, when you change something midseason, it changes how you strategize. Like, this literally changes nothing this week.
Scheduling.
Literally changes.
He might like his matchups.
Yep.
But no, he might like his matchups. But I'm saying for this week in particular, like for week 14, I mean, it literally would change. Like, you gameplay in the exact same way. Like, the only time it would change anything is in week 16. It's like, shit, I need extra points here. I need to make it up. Okay, I'll throw a Hail Mary on a guy who's higher upside, but lower floor. Like, that's the only real big difference I think it makes. But whatever. It's not really relevant. Like, I know they were both kind of like, I'm fine to do it, but I'm not pressed. So we're just leaving it as 1 week. So this is a 1 week matchup, right?
It is a 1 week matchup to decide who will join Jason McMillan at Waffle House.
Let's see.
Which I hope I'm able to attend this.
Just so everyone knows, I'm sure everyone in the league knows, obviously. Anyone who's watching the stream who is not in our league, the punishment for the Sacko Bowl, the loser must go to Waffle House for 24 hours. But for every waffle they eat, they get 1 hour reduced from that time.
So one thing I think would be a good idea is, I'm assuming we'd start this off as like an overnight deal, right? We'd go there at like 8 p.m., something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, or do you guys want to start it earlier in the day? I don't know. I think it makes it more fun if it's the overnight factor.
I'm assuming it would be earlier in the day, but it still should be overnight for sure. I was thinking if we start at like 2 p.m.
okay, that's better. I was gonna
Like,
say,
is anyone ever
going
gonna
like
do it under 12 hours?
Yeah, but, well, I mean,
Yeah.
potentially. Like, no, like, first of all, yes. If we got there at like 8 a.m., there's no way I'd be over there overnight.
Oh yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I'd fucking down 7-8 waffles.
No, but if it was like 2, it was 2, 3
probably.
p.m. Are you eating 14?
Probably not. Yeah. So what I think would be a good idea though is we get there, we all eat together at the start, and then we all leave, we head out, we come back the next morning for breakfast again.
That'd be amazing. That sounds awesome.
It's like, hey, you guys get there at 2, we'll meet you there at 6, we'll eat dinner with you guys, we'll come back for breakfast. I think that'd be like
That's so brutal, man.
I love it. I think this is great. I almost kind of wish I could get last so I could partake.
So that was Jerry's synopsis of the Sacko matchup. So we're moving on to Zach's synopsis.
Well,
he hasn't.
Wait, no. We haven't made a prediction yet. Yeah.
I was kidding.
So yeah. So I have to imagine though that there will be some changes to lineups. Lineups are definitely not set right here. I think. Well, yeah. So I would say that Jason just dropped $400 on Nelson Aguilar. I'm gonna be really mad if he doesn't fucking play him, unless he was literally just like, I don't want Alex to start him against me, which could be the case. DJ Moore looks like he's out this week. That's pretty big. Zeke's questionable. Melvin Gordon is questionable.
Nah. Moore's playing.
He is playing?
Yeah.
Oh, the thing on here literally says out right now.
Yeah, read the
play
note.
Saturday's game against the Packers, huh? Weird that they haven't updated that. That's surprising.
Because they don't have to make an official until Sunday morning.
Yeah. Okay. 51% probability. Whoa. I am going to say I'm going to give the nod to Jason here. Not just because I think like he doesn't deserve last place this year, not just because Alex does necessarily deserve it, but I honestly think James Robinson also dealing with a little bit of an injury thing, playing against Baltimore. I think Baltimore's going to be a little bit better, although he also has J.K. Dobbins playing against Jacksonville. Jesus, okay, come on, guys, what are we doing here? This is a problem. I don't know. God, and Washington's defense has actually been solid. Fuck me, God. Okay, can I go next? No, I said Jason. I'm sticking with Jason. I think it will be close. Jason's bad luck has to run out eventually, right?
Next year.
I think it finally runs out here. Jason gets the win. I'm gonna say somewhere in the range. Jason's gonna put up just over 100, and I don't think this is gonna be because Jason overperforms. Alex's team is gonna go out here and drop like another 80-point game. It's not. All right, right now, I would like to say I want to make a bet about this, but I don't know how exactly it would work. But I want to say that Alex will score half or less than what he scored against Jason the first time around.
So that'd be 80-something points.
That'd be like
81.26.
I'd bet the over.
If that's the line, I feel like I have to take the over, but I want to bet the under because I think that Alex's team is bad. He doesn't deserve to put up more than 81 points this week. Fuck, Juju Smith-Schuster gets Cincinnati. What is this bullshit? Go ahead, guys. That's my prediction. I'm going with Jason. Jason and a not high-scoring affair.
Zach, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to Jason too. I expect it to be like a really close matchup, but like I just can't accept the fact that somehow Alex would eke this out. Like Jason's run so bad for the entire year. He can't run this bad for this matchup too, right? like he has so many opportunities that could actually perform really well. Like Melvin Gordon, Ezekiel Elliott, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen. Like they all could have really Jarvis Landry even. Like they all could have good weeks, and it's like
I still don't know. That if you looked at his team in the preseason, you'd love his team.
Yeah, no, I expect him to perform like I said, I won't be shocked if he ends up in the Sacko, but like I do expect him to be competitive. I give him the edge over Alex. Like Jalen Hurts looked really good that last week, but like honestly, like the Cardinals will be ready for him. They won't be like
for him.
Yeah, they won't be flat-footed like the fucking Saints looked. Like I said, like his running backs are playing Baltimore and Green Bay. He's got Tyler Lockett against Washington. Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Alex pulls out, but I'm still taking Jason. I think he has the edge here.
Window, who you got?
So I gotta pull from my boys that I traded away to Alex. You know, I can't just sit here and be like, "Fuck you, Robinson," and "Fuck you, Lockett." No, I gotta root for them. You know, trades are supposed to benefit both parties. But
not if you can help it.
What?
Not if you can help it.
Anyways,
like it's great when it happens, but
that's why I'm rooting for it, Jerry. But I'm looking at Jason's team, and as a fellow tinkerer on rosters, he's got major tinkering. And one thing I'd really love to see in this matchup is Curtis Samuel versus DJ Moore. Like, both are Panthers wide receivers. Both are up there. I have Robbie Anderson, so I know these two have been at each other. But it's like Jerry said, I do agree. I want him to start Aguilar too, and just to spite Sean, I want him to finally start the Dolphins defense. So I think
I started him last week.
Yeah, I know. I just think if Jason makes the right roster changes, I will flip and choose Jason. But as of right now, Alex, I wish Robinson goes off against Baltimore. But Lockett, I'm hoping that, DK Metcalf gets shut down by Washington and the slot's open. Just saying, Lockett's done pretty good against NFC teams.
So, that 45-point day against Arizona. If Tyler Lockett gives you 15 for 200 and 3 touchdowns, I think Alex's chances go up.
So no shit.
I said teams, not just the Cardinals. I said teams.
So here's the thing. Zach and Jerry, you're using justice and logic and reason and to predict that Jason Smith should win this matchup, because on paper he absolutely should, in terms of team top to bottom. The problem is that that's not how fantasy fucking works. And what Jerry was saying at the outset is exactly right. Look at Alex's matchups in depth. Arizona with mobile quarterbacks is not a good fantasy defense from a passing perspective. They let Tua have one of his best games as a pro, and Tua being a rookie. There's not a lot of film on Jalen Hurts. They're going to have a tough time adjusting. J.K. Dobbins had a good week last week, and is going.
They're not though, Sean. Come on. He played last. He played last week. They're going to see him. He ridiculously upset the Saints. Apparently this.
The Saints, the best team in the NFC.
I know, but they're. I think they're.
Okay.
First of all, they had Taysom Hill at quarterback.
With Taysom Hill.
They're the number one seed still in the NFC.
No, but Sean, Taysom Hill's done well against bad teams. He hasn't done well against any good teams.
Philadelphia's not a good team.
Their defense is good.
I agree. No, Sean, I agree.
The
Eagles are not a good team. But the whole point is oh, look, Hayden Hurts looked really good against the Saints without a real quarterback. Listen, now, every other team in the league is spending this week watching him play.
I'm saying
last week they weren't doing that. No, they weren't doing that last week. This week they are.
Arizona is a suspect defense against mobile quarterbacks. J.K. Dobbins is going to run all over the Jacksonville defense, as every running back has from a fantasy perspective. Baltimore also, by the way, didn't look great against the run. Now, granted, it's Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I get it's probably one of the best rushing attacks in the AFC, maybe the NFL, but they didn't look great against the run last week. There's a lot of good matchups here. And like you said, if you're talking about the Washington Redskins defense being good, in terms of blanketing Tyler Lockett, Jason's starting Russell Wilson at quarterback. And if he's ballsy enough to pull the trigger on Jared Goff against the Jets, which maybe he should, the Jets being fucking a dumpster fire of a team, then kudos to Jason for that play. But it's tough to sit your studs when everything's on the line. So
also the problem is if the Jets are so bad that quarterbacks don't get a ton of points because they start running the ball.
I mean, yeah.
Like the Jets are that bad.
Yeah, and so like, what do you do? But the thing is, if you start Russell Wilson, then you better hope he's using everyone but Tyler Lockett, because if Tyler Lockett's involved, it's probably going to offset a lot of Wilson's value unless he's being mobile. And again, Washington has a decent defense, like we've talked about. Also,
DK Metcalf is pretty good. I know you are going to like this, but DK Metcalf is pretty fucking good.
I'm not disputing that. TJ Hawkinson, top 3 tight end in football right now. Like Jerry said, you don't want a lot of parts of the Pittsburgh offense right now, but since he is a good matchup, the only matchups I don't like are the only matchup I really don't like is his defense going up against Miami after a tough loss to Kansas City. I think the Patriots are suspect. I think this is gonna be the loss that cements their season. I really do think that the matchups favor Burchak.
So that's actually definitely true. Like, no, I'm still gonna take Jason, but like, no, you look at the projections. Like, Burchak's predicted to win by 3. So no, I still think Jason's gonna win, but I also think it's gonna be really close. And I wouldn't be shocked if I'm wrong.
Here's the funny thing.
It's gonna be close.
Jason, like the last thing I'll say about it is this. Jason has a lot of tough calls to make. One of the things that I've said on previous podcasts, and I'll say it one more time, I fucking hate being the manager that has to make a lot of fucking tough calls. I want guys I can put in on Wednesday after waivers process and forget about it for the week. Say, this is my stud. Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, set it, forget it, I'm done.
So Sean, let me say something that makes you sound like a total dick. I'm gonna say, if it's a close call, it doesn't fucking matter who you pick. If it's a really actually close call, they're like, oh, it's just a close call. Like, they're both close. It really doesn't matter who you pick. Like, obviously it sucks when you pick the wrong one, but it's not it's not something you should spend any time laboring over, is all I'm saying.
Yes, you should.
No.
Okay.
Unless you put money on it, sure.
No, even if you have money.
Here's the
whole point is, like, if they're actually close, then they're close. Like, you actually don't need to worry about the decision. It's like, no, it sucks when you're wrong. I understand, Sean. Sorry, Jerry, go ahead.
So here's why I'm going to disagree with both of you. This is why you're both wrong. Number one, Zach, like, you're not always supposed to be. I feel like it kind of goes back and forth. Like, there are times when you should be results oriented in fantasy football, and there's times when you shouldn't. Now, the times when you shouldn't be results oriented is when, should I start Russell Wilson or Taysom Hill? No, like, Taysom Hill fucking played Atlanta and puts up 25. Russell Wilson had a bad week and put up 20. Like, you can't be results oriented then. But when it's the close calls, that's when you get to be results oriented. Okay. Now, Sean, the reason that you're wrong
disagree
is Sean. Essentially, what you're saying is you just want Sean. Like, what you're saying is you want something that is almost essentially unachievable in fantasy football. You want to fucking nail every pick of the draft, and then never have to do anything. You just my team's good. I don't even have to set my lineup. Prove that I was right in the draft. How often do you win from the draft?
No. Look, I understand it's a pipe dream. What I'm saying is this: there are times when over the course of a season, like, if you draft correctly or or you hit the waiver wires correctly and you nail some waivers, you can have an RB1, an RB2, a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, a quarterback in tier 1, a flex spot, a tight end who's decent. Like, you can have every position filled, and you have a general idea. These are the guys I'm starting unless there's a good matchup play, right? Sure. The whole point I was making, and I think I got a little off track with it, but the whole point I was making is Jason, yes, he kind of has that, but he's also got a lot of matchups that I'm not sure about. Jarvis, his flex is really, and maybe every flex is kind of confusing to an extent, but like,
I think the flex is the only thing where he's going to struggle this week. Tell me, is he benching Mike Evans or Adam Thielen this week?
Yes, I would.
Why?
Because last 2 weeks, Cooper's been looking good, and Cooper is the only wide receiver being thrown to from the Cowboys, where Mike Evans has to compete for those other people. Like, Brown.
So really quick, Amari Cooper has looked better the last couple of weeks. Like, he
targets.
He scored in 3 straight games. That's solid and everything. So yeah, Amari Cooper going into your flex, I can understand. Are you really going to bench Mike Evans, who is still the number one wide receiver, the number one red zone target on that team, going against the worst passing defense in football.
Oh, you right.
You're not benching Adam Thielen. Melvin Gordon and Ezekiel Elliott are there's only real two startable running backs. He's obviously starting Russell Wilson. The Rams got the Jets. Does he even have a second tight end? Okay, maybe he's Jared Cook versus Dalton Schultz. That's just you're hoping for 5 points there. No, the only real question he has is, do I start Jarvis Landry or do I start Amari Cooper? Or do I start Nelson Aguilar? No, he has one decision, his flex.
I also just like to say he only has 2 running backs.
There's also the factor. There's a couple decisions. Also, he has a good problem at defense because again, Miami's playing a suspect offense in New England. Rams are playing the Jets. Obviously, he's actually got a dealer's choice there. The other thing is
that's not close.
I honestly don't. I mean, maybe this is kind of the opposite argument I was making for Alex, but I don't love a lot of his matchups. I don't love Melvin Gordon against the Buffalo run D. I don't love Zeke coming off of getting a nicked up, and it seems like they're starting to split him off. What do the Cowboys have to play for? Are they really going to win the division? Probably not. I really don't see Zeke. I see him more as an RB2, maybe flex this week.
Other running backs.
Atlanta's looked better in the second half of the year. Adam Thielen's got a decent matchup against Chicago. I just don't like a lot of his matchups. I like Amari Cooper. I will say that much. I do like against the San Francisco pass defense. I think their corners are suspect. I just don't like a lot of his matchups. That's why I went Alex, and I like a lot of Alex's. And now,
that's
wait. I do want to defend you, Sean, from you being attacked about your philosophy. So I get what Sean is saying. He wants to go into week to week, not worrying about who to start.
Sure.
And you can ask the game. Wait. I know that. That's
also the game too.
I know that's more of a philosophy thing. But the person here that knows me, almost every weekend, I am messaging Zach going, "Who do I start at flex?" Because I'm always choosing player A or player B, and I usually flip flop. Sometimes it's like a needle player.
And I never say the answer because it's your job.
No, you don't, because it's up to me.
This is the game.
I know, but
let's just put it.
I know that. What I'm trying to say is where I can deal with the stress of, a minute leading up to 105 and going, no, I'm not starting DJ Homer or DJ Dallas, and then he puts up 20 points. Where Sean is the type of player going I'm already losing my hair. I don't want to stress anymore. So I'd rather put it in my lineup on Wednesday. That's Sean's way of playing. For me to play to get more gray hair.
You have a QB1. In a perfect world, you have a QB1, 2 RB1s, 3 wide receiver 1s, a tight end 1, a defense 1, a kicker 1. In a perfect world, you have that.
I hope you like that, Sean.
It's not a hot take. Yes, I'd rather just. Oh, by the way, I just have the best players in football. Fuck you guys.
We've gotten way into the weeds on this, and I want to move to the semifinal matchups. What I'm trying to say is there are definitely teams.
So who did you pick?
I picked Alex. Obviously, there are teams in the Sacko tier that don't have an RB1, RB2, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. They have a bunch of guys who are flex, and then you have to decide, okay, which one of these flex guys do I start at running back 2 or wide receiver 2 because my team is fucking garbage. And that's the kind of situation that I think I try to avoid.
You don't want my team, Sean.
So two things. Part of the reason why these two teams are here is because all of their guys are flex guys.
No shit.
So apt analysis, Sean. Thank you.
All right, we're moving on. We're talking Zach and I first, which means that I'm gonna let Jerry. Obviously, Zach and I are gonna pick ourselves, I would imagine. So we're gonna let Jerry and Window. Zach, can you stop going every time you go away? It fucks up.
What do you mean go away? Where the fuck did I go?
Your camera went off. I don't know.
Why is it not on?
Maybe is it Jerry's? Maybe it's Jerry's.
Jerry's is off.
It might be Jerry. Turn your camera back on.
He went to the bathroom.
Every time.
I'm sorry. He has a cramp.
Every time one of you fuckers turns your camera off, it completely fucks the whatever you call it.
Twitch stream.
Anyway, whatever. I guess since Jerry's not here,
I didn't do it this time.
I guess we'll wait for Jerry. Whatever. We can do Windows take first.
I'm here.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I had to take a dump.
Oh, you weren't cramping?
Nope.
All right.
We're moving
on.
Just like Paul Pierce and Lamar Jackson.
It's it's myself versus Zach. Zach is the home team. Obviously, right now I beat the shit out of Zach when he put up 58.48. I'd be embarrassed if I didn't beat him. And that was the only time we met this season.
Must be nice to get a 60-point game against.
No shit.
So I one game below 100, by the way.
Zach is currently projected to win by less than a point. I'll do Jerry first, then Window. Who you got?
Go take a shit again.
And I don't know if Zach will volunteer this. Right now, this is where my lineup is. Barring like Mike Gesicki coming back, barring like a change, at maybe the flex or wide receiver 2 spots.
I'm just not committing to this, but this is probably my lineup. Like, something that happens to one of our running backs. Like, I did just pick up 2 running backs on waivers. Like, in case like Josh Jacobs doesn't start, obviously I'm gonna start one of them. Like, but for now, like, this is probably who I'm starting.
Okay, so I am concerned about Josh Jacobs. I will say it's not a mystery. Everyone knows. I have not been super high on Zach.
Yeah, you said this well before I got the number 1 seed in a bye.
Yeah. So if you look, like, again, at the very beginning, Josh Jacobs exploded onto the scene, kind of leveled out. He had a couple of good games, a couple of bad games. It seems like when he plays, I don't know, I guess it's like he's just so touchdown dependent. It's like he's not getting, like, how many times has he gone up above 5 yards per carry this year? 1 time. How many times has he even gone against above 4 yards per carry? It looks like another 3. So like 4 times this year he's getting more than 4 yards per carry. It's not great. And if the volume is there, it still works out for him. But there's a lot of weeks where just the volume's not, like, the Raiders aren't great. He had 7 carries against Atlanta. I'm pretty sure he got hurt in that game, which sucks for Zach too, because again, in a meaningless week 13 though for Zach, he would have gotten the Jets. He also, Josh Jacobs is kind of a piece of shit with what he did last week. I don't know if you guys heard about this. So he literally posted a thing right leading up to the game last week, and was like, "I'm not playing," and people collectively freaked the fuck out. And then he was just like, a lot of mad fantasy football owners, and then did like a flipping the camera off emoji. And Josh Jacobs did all of that, and Matthew Berry made a thing on one of the fantasy football shows and was kind of like, "Don't be this guy." Like, because Matthew Berry said, like, I'm a big proponent of don't fucking tweet at and like comment on professional football players' social medias and bitch that they underperformed, because obviously they didn't want to underperform. Like, don't do that. But it's like, but at the same time, don't be the guy that like, oh, you guys care that it's like, fuck you guys. It's like, dude, I don't know. It was a very big thing of Josh Jacobs handling the situation the wrong way. He then blocked Matthew Berry on Twitter too. Like, it's like a whole thing. This is fucking hysterical. And he responded to Matthew Berry, was like, "Yeah, because I don't care," and then blocked him. And it's like, cool, dude. Like, you don't care about fantasy football.
He's still immature. He's a young kid.
Dude, you don't care about fantasy football. Cool, but like, how many fucking people are out here watching the Raiders play because they're really big fans of the Raiders?
McMillan.
Like, no, like half the fucking people who watch the Raiders play right now, it's because of people like Derek Carr, Josh,
and Zach.
Like, what? And
Zach watches the Raiders. Yeah,
because of Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what Jerry's saying.
Like, there are 2 like, and the Raiders are what this year? What is their record right now? I don't even know what they're.
I don't know. I was guessing. I was guessing.
You're guessing 7-6. Yeah, they actually are 7-6. But I'm saying, like, does anybody expect them to make the playoffs? Does anybody care? like, does anyone who follows him actually really care how the result in Week 15 against the Chargers is going to go?
If they do make the playoffs, they're not going anywhere. Like,
no, exactly. It's too often, like, fantasy football is the reason that people are watching the Jets fucking play this year. Like, don't fucking patronize us.
I think there are plenty of people who are watching the Jets hoping they go winless.
Self-righteous rant about this. So I will say, I'm not loving Josh Jacobs as a person right now, and I'm not loving how he's done in the last few weeks. Like, again,
you should bench him.
In the last 4 weeks, I mean, obviously the last 4 weeks are coming off a big week that he had against Denver. But in the last 4 weeks, 17 carries for 55 yards. He fell into the end zone, gets you almost 13. 7 for 27, probably got hurt, misses a week, and then 13 for 49, no touchdown, 8.9 points. He's obviously the workhorse, but I'm not loving his situation this week. Let's see here if I can actually see this. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too used to playing on the being on the app and not on the laptop, so that I can't really see what I'm looking for here. Let's see. Like, Travis Kelce's going to be Travis Kelce. Like, God damn, Travis Kelce's good. What the fuck? God, he just does not stop putting up points. Like, remember how we were talking about, like, you want 8-9 points out of your tight end in your throw? He's averaging 17.
He's a nutcase. He's actually he's leading the NFL in receiving yards, I believe, as a tight end, which has, like, never happened.
Yeah, it's also having the number one wide receiver, and I can put him in tight end. It's almost as good as being able to Taysom Hill is my tight end, but.
So DK Metcalf, I feel like he also just, like, randomly has weeks where he, like, doesn't show up, but it doesn't happen. I guess it's not as often as I was thinking. He did have 1 week like that was okay. Yeah, no, he's still solid. Kareem Hunt ended up having a pretty good week this week, right? Despite Nick Chubb getting into the end zone multiple times. Yeah, he had a big week. Oh, well, when you get 6 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown and a rushing touchdown. Okay.
Yeah,
Giants.
Had a good week this week. Never gets played the Giants.
That was a blowout game too.
Yeah. Also gets the Jets in week 16. But Kareem Hunt had been looking a little softer, right? Yeah, like 3 straight weeks of less than 9 points before this week. Okay. Okay, I gotta fucking find. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I can't see the matchups as well as I would like, because obviously we can sit here and we can look at the what's it called? Like the matchups, but, like, sometimes matchups can be deceiving. Like, some teams look whole lot better than you think they would be, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, like, they're playing against, like, actually a top 5 pass defense when, like, you think their team is fucking atrocious. So, like, give me 1 second. Wendell, if you want to chime in with something here while I find this thing really quick.
So as Jerry, yeah, I can time.
I'm kind of working through it as I'm talking right now.
I'll buy you time. Don't worry. As Jerry, the super analytical, I will personally be choosing Sean to win because I made fun of his bod hair. And Zach did not pick me to win this week either. So this is 100% personal decision. Back to the prior thing that Zach was saying, it's so close. I can't really, be analytical and choose which one. But I will say, I don't like the fact that you have to start Hurst. As much as I'm a Falcons fan, I know early in the podcast, you're saying, Alex is crying about Matt Ryan. As a fellow Falcons fan, I have been crying for the entire team this entire season. But yeah, I mean, like, it's just, I think both teams have really good matchups for their individual players. And the only maybe saving grace that Sean might have is that Kelce is playing the New Orleans Saints. And as a Falcons fan, I've known the New Orleans Saints defense a lot. They can be either really good or they let one player slip. And as someone that has a Chiefs player, I really hope that's Hill and not Kelce. So we'll see.
I was going to say, like, against the Eagles, they were fucking terrible.
So while Window was talking, I was scanning free agency to look at tight ends again, like I've done like 15 times this week, because there's just nothing there. Like, I don't want. Let me be clear about something. I don't want to start Hayden Hurst. If it wasn't for Mike Gesicki getting injured badly last week, this is a no-brainer. But he's literally all I have left, and I will acknowledge at the outset. I'm not gonna make a. I mean, like I said, I know Zach's predicting himself. I'll predict myself. I'll just give a before Jerry goes, I'll just give like a 1-minute spiel about my team and how I feel this week. I know I'm playing catch up at two major positions, quarterback and tight end. Travis Kelce is going to outscore Hayden Hurst by somewhere in the margin of 8 to 15. I would say probably 10 to 15.
Could be more.
10 to 15.
I'd say 10. If it's only 10, you should be happy.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm already playing catch up there, and I'm also playing catch up at quarterback in all likelihood. I think Josh Allen's probably going to outscore Phillip Rivers by about somewhere again like 7 to 12. So like I'm already.
It depends on the Josh Allen you get.
Yeah, but and to be fair,
because Josh Allen, it seems like he's either puts up 15 or he puts up 30. That's literally been his MO.
He's super touchdown dependent. Like if he like rushes for 2 TDs, like fuck you, Sean, you're done. If he doesn't, then you have a chance.
But this is the counterpoint. Oh shit. Stand by for the counterpoint. I'm gonna let Jerry talk. Ruby has to go to the bathroom, and I gotta go out in the fucking snow.
So.
Don't yell snow, by the way, to everyone.
Going back to Josh Allen really quick, like it's kind of like ridiculous how up and down he has been. It's like for the first like month of the season, he was like insanely good. 28, 34, 31, 25. You look at his next month of the season, 16, 15, 16, 12. He then comes back to life, 36, 27. Then he falls back down to less than 16, 15 and a half. Then he gets 30. Then he gets 18. It's like, if Josh Allen comes out here and puts up 30,
GG.
And obviously, I mean, it's big. If he only has like 15,
he is also playing Denver. He's also playing Denver.
It's like a middle of the road team against quarterbacks. 18th for quarterbacks. So you overall, look, your matchups don't look bad. You have a good defensive matchup, good kicker matchup. Kareem Hunt and Robert Woods also pretty good matchups, 24th and 26th respectively. The thing where you kind of run into a problem is Devontae Parker and DK Metcalf are both playing top 5 defenses for wide receiver points against. A little bit tougher. So like this also
so there is a chance that I don't start Devontae Parker, but okay. I feel like there's no chance I don't start DK Metcalf.
There's no way you can bench DK Metcalf. Like he's essentially matchup proof. The big question can come down to Washington is, okay, who do they want to shut down? Do they want to shut down Tyler Lockett or do they want to shut down DK Metcalf?
Yeah. Can I say this before Sean gets back? I think Sean should start Baker Mayfield because I think the Colts are going to run all over the Houston Texans. And if he starts Mayfield.
Houston's defense in general is not good.
Yeah.
Their pass defense is 24th. Their run defense is 31st.
Yeah.
Like, Houston's defense is awful.
But I'm just saying, Mayfield might have a better upside.
Looking at Sean's matchups, it's just great up and down the board.
You know.
Quarterback 24th. Derrick Henry, the worst defense against running backs, 32nd. Jonathan Taylor, second worst. Devontae Adams is kind of middle of the road at 18th. Brandon Ayuk gets 28th. Hayden Hurst gets 24. T.Y. Hilton 24. Steelers defense is 31. Matt Gay. I mean, kickers are coin flips, is 32. Like, he just has great matchups up and down the roster.
I'm literally just hoping, like, the defense is, like, focusing on it. Like, right, like, Derrick Henry has Detroit. It's like, okay, like, if they focus on Derrick Henry because he's the only offensive weapon they have, I'll be in a good spot. If they just suck the rest of the year, then I'm fine.
The problem is Detroit just can't stop anybody on the run.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not happy about that. I really, like... Obviously, I'm in need. Like it's gonna be close. Like,
it's obvious to say it's gonna be close when it's literally saying 50-50 on the win probabilities. You guys are projected to be within.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, who do you choose? Coin flip?
It's not quite a coin flip.
Oh, because you've been hating on Zach all year long. I get it.
So. What I'm going to say here is Sean's team also has a tendency, if I'm remembering correctly. Let me double check. I don't want to do what I've seen happen a couple times where someone just says something and it's kind of like, well, that's just not true. I want to make sure that I'm correct on this. And I'm looking a little correct here. Okay, what I was about to say was Sean's team has a tendency to
Oh, yeah. He's a boomer bust.
Oh, yeah.
And, so in week So for the first 4 weeks of the season, his team actually looked. He was 2-2, but it was actually funny. In his 2 weeks that he scored more points, the 2 weeks that he got losses. He put up 119, 114, 128, and 124. Yeah, he goes 2-0 with 119 and 114. He goes 0-2 with 128 and 124.
Damn.
But then it's literally since then it's 87, 114, 101, 99, 92, 117, 91, 133, 109, 150. It's like it's just up and down, up and down, up and down. And looking at his team this week, it looks like it could definitely be an up week. It's really easy for me to want to pick Sean because I've been so low on Zach's team. And and so what I'm gonna say right now is I'm gonna go with Zach's team for a couple of reasons.
What?
I'm gonna go with Zach's team for.
I feel like I'm fucked now.
for a couple of reasons. One big reason, not that this is drastically affecting my decision, but it affects how I, mentally handle my, how my state of mind goes for this weekend, is I would actually rather play Zach's team right now than Sean's. Because
wait, you're really saying because I'm the worst team, you're picking me to win?
No. I said that's not why I'm picking you. I'm saying that's how I want to be able to root for you, and that is how it will mentally help me this weekend.
Why?
It is more of a situation of
why is he rooting? Wait, why is he rooting for Zach?
He'd rather play Zach's team than yours,
Sean, because he thinks you're a worse person in general, like. Morally, you're a
That's
bad
not what he said.
Philip
Rivers, morally, you're the worst person in this league.
So Philip Rivers has a good matchup this week, but Philip Rivers is also one of these guys that even when he had what the fuck? Why did it just kick me out? Even when Philip Rivers has good matchups, Philip Rivers just doesn't ever jump off the page. Like his best week was obviously against the bad team, against Cincinnati, where he got you just under 25 points. I'm pretty sure Josh Allen has gotten Zach 25 points like at least half a dozen times.
Oh yeah.
So
he gets like 30, like a third of the time at least.
And if I'm remembering correctly, he doesn't have a bad matchup. I just fucking lost my thing.
He has Denver.
Oh, Denver.
Denver. Yeah, not great.
Yeah. I mean, they do have a quarterback this week, but...
So anyways, Sean, you have one person for Zach and one person for you.
So, yes, I am going to, in a close one, I am going to say I think that it is Zach. But I will also go back to what I said about last week is if both Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams, I mean, if he gets 60 between the two of them, like, Sean's going to fucking win. But if he's much more in that range of, like, 30 to 40... I believe that the added benefit he's going to get from Josh Allen and Travis Kelce is going to push him to a win.
So here's before I had to have my dog go outside in the freezing cold and try 3 times to take the longest poop ever. What I was trying to say about my team was, and I honestly think this is again a very close matchup. I actually do think all 4 of the teams that belong in the semifinals, except for maybe James, kind of made their way there. I think this is the upper echelon. I think they're going to be, like I said, I think anyone could win the championship out of this pool. But what I like about my team, I hate my tight end, hate my quarterback, but what I like about my team is the matchups. I am a big matchups guy this year. I don't know why it's all of a sudden this year has become a thing, but like, Philip Rivers has a Houston defense that is...
Yeah, so I hate to interrupt you, but you also missed it. Like, I literally went through every single one of your matchups.
Okay, great. So, no.
I literally said, like, that's a big thing for you. Is like, literally, all of your matchups are good up and down the board. Like, the only one that's, like, iffy was one, I think, was Devontae Adams, who's, like, 18, right?
Yeah, that's middle of the road.
Yeah, that's a middle of the road, but everything else is, like, super fucking solid.
Wait, so you picked Zach despite that?
I did.
I mean, I picked Zach because he didn't pick me.
The reason I said it is, number one, Hayden Hurst, even against terrible defenses with great matchups, he might get you 1 catch. He might get you no catches. Philip Rivers, even on his best week, gets you something that Josh Allen gets you half a dozen times in 14 weeks. Right. Like, you could be looking at a deficit from the tight end and quarterback position of 40 points.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Like, very easily. And, like, no, Derrick Henry playing against the worst run defense, he might drop you another 35-point day, but how many times is he going to get you 35 points?
You're right.
Like, obviously, it's happened twice in 3 weeks now. Like, I have to imagine sometimes it's got to be up and down.
Here's the other thing that I just I'm kind of like I've been looking like I said, I know James is one of the hottest teams in the league, right?
Why are we talking about teams are off the playoffs? Just kidding.
If we're going, and I know, like, let's just, like, last 3 weeks, for example, right? My team has put up 130, 109, which was my weakest one, and then obviously I had the league lead at 150 the last 3 weeks.
Who's putting?
I think Zach's scores the last 3 weeks were sub 100, 110, and then he's getting better each week. He did 100 and 123, I think, this past week.
So Sean, the important part is, like, where did your points come from?
Monte Adams and McHenry.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you need to talk about, like, where the points come from, and we need to talk about, like, our matchup right now. Like, where are the points coming from both of our teams? You can talk about just generally overall. But I think if you start to break it down, like, no, like, I'm not even saying, like, I'm a huge favorite here, but it's gonna be close, and it's gonna come down to, like I said, like, if Travis Kelce is able to put up, like, fucking 50 points, I'm gonna win. If fucking Devontae Adams puts up 50 points, you're gonna win. Like, it's gonna come.
I mean, if any player puts up 50 points, they're gonna win. Just ask Window.
and Alex, he had Lockett for like 47 points or something.
No, but you see what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be, like, out of the box here. I'm just trying to say, like, no, like, it's gonna come down to, like, the expectation would be, like, neither of us put up 50 points. And it's like, oh, like, you know, am I gonna be able to make it up with fucking, like, Travis Kelce, DK Metcalf, and Josh Allen, or are all of your good matchups gonna, like, come to fruition? Like, is Rivers gonna put up what you need? Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk, like, are they gonna be able to outscore, like,
the thing that
you very easily could. Like, I could lose. Like, I'm not even
oh my God.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right.
Saying, right?
Like, I know. I see. Listen.
I have the favorite.
Listen.
Like, you could easily win.
I think you are. I do think on paper you are a slight favorite, but I obviously pick myself, as you know. I do think this is a different story if Mike Gesicki does not get injured in the fourth quarter this past week. I think if Gesicki is in, the difference between Kelce and Gesicki this week would be enough that, like, I think it would be an even split between the two of us. Because
too bad we don't live in an alternative universe where
Gesicki
is healthy.
Sorry. I'm sorry. You were just saying that would make it an even split between them. I think you were saying it was an even split between Kelce and Gesicki.
No. An even split between our two teams. I think the difference between, like, I think I could make up the difference.
Sean.
Hold on. Let me finish. I think I'm just saying.
I agree with you, by the way.
I think the difference between Gesicki and Kelce, and the difference between Josh Allen and Phillip Rivers, those two things combined would be even out with, like, Derrick Henry versus your RB1, Devontae Adams versus your wide receiver 1.
No, of course. And no, Sean, like I said, I wasn't trying to, like, override you. I was literally about to say, like, honestly, I agree with you. Like, it's gonna come down with, like, you know, like, it's gonna be the difference. Like, I think it's gonna be close. Like, I'm gonna take myself, obviously, but I think it's gonna be a very close matchup. And it's honestly, like, I'm expecting it to be really exciting. I'm expecting to, like, luckily, I think both of us have all our matchups on Sunday. So I would prefer not to have to worry about watching Monday night games, but I plan on sweating this really hardcore on Sunday.
Same.
And it's
the only
and it's gonna be really
situation
fun.
is the Steelers versus the Bengals defense. The Steelers defense is on Monday night. That's the only only Monday night situation.
You're right.
Cool.
Okay. I hope it's over before Sunday. Like, honestly, I hope, regardless if it's me or you, I hope it's over before that.
Yeah, because it is awful to sweat on Monday night.
Speaking of which, I think that I'm making a petition right now. We eliminate Monday night situations, drop the Steelers defense, pay someone else. Window drops Pittsburgh's kicker, plays a different kicker. I think that's the best, most fair way to do this right now.
There's no way in hell. Zach, don't go away because it fucks up the screen. I am not doing
Yo,
that.
calm down. I need to fucking pee. Can I not do that?
You can go pee. Just keep your camera on so it doesn't fuck up the thing.
You have lots of empty bottles nearby.
Are you peeing at your desk?
No.
Then just go off camera for a little while. But don't turn your camera off. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, no. There's no way I'm not going to start the Pittsburgh defense going against the Bungles. Fuck you.
I'm just saying, what if I'm able to get Zach to agree to this, what if he starts Cam Newton instead of Josh Allen? Then would you bench the Steelers defense, but you cannot start a defense in its place?
Just start a tight end. Oh, I meant a quarterback.
I'd have to think about that. No, we're not doing this. We're not playing these what if universes. Let's move on.
This is the longest podcast in history.
It is.
2 hours
we're
now.
over an hour and a half. So let's finish.
Just let you
up.
guys know, I got out of bed for this.
Let's finish up.
Yes.
We got one last matchup and then we're done. It is Jerry versus Window, the 4-9 wild card team, number 6 seed, versus the 9-4 number 2 seed with coming off a bye week. And the irony here is Jerry is currently the 4-9 team is currently the projected favorite by a margin of about 10 points. Zach, okay, thank you. And this is the only matchup where, out of the 3 we've discussed, where this is game 3 between these two teams. You guys actually played each other twice in the regular season. Both games Window won this year, and put up 136 and 128. They were the first one was close in week 2. The second one not so much in week 11. Obviously,
by something like 15% when he plays me.
Obviously, there are still injury concerns throughout. We talked about earlier in the podcast, McCaffrey likely out. He's doubtful currently. Marquise Brown is already out. George Kittle still on IR for Window. These are all Window's injuries. Chase Edmonds and Michael Thomas both listed as questionable. Right now for Jerry, Austin Eckler, Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, Adrian Peterson, all listed as questionable. So Jerry is still, though, about a little over 9-point favorite. I'll let Zach take the lead on this one. Who you got?
Zach, what are you doing?
Oh, no.
All right. Good talk, Zach.
Zach, what are you doing?
I'm looking a little correct here. Okay, what I was about to say was Sean's team.
Is Zach rewinding the podcast and listening to it?
Oh, yeah. For the first 4 weeks of the season, his team actually was 2-2, but it was actually funny. In his 2 weeks, he scored more points than the 2 weeks that he got losses. He put up 128 and 124. Yeah. He goes 2-0 with 192 and 14. He goes 0-2 with 128.
He's drinking a beer and listening to the podcast.
Really synthetic. 87, 114, 101, 99, 92, 117, 91, 133, 109, 150. It's just up and down.
What is he doing?
And this week, it looks like it could definitely be an up week.
I don't understand. He doesn't even talk.
So what I'm going to say right now...
I don't know what's happening right now.
Did he forget he's on the podcast?
I'm dying. I'm dying.
For a couple of reasons. One big reason.
He's heard this before.
That's how
I'm about to message him. For some reason, I got kicked out of everything on my iPad.
I would actually rather play Saxon.
What I don't understand is he's heard you say this before.
He literally came back from the bathroom. He came back from the bathroom, turned his mic off, turned it back on.
I want to, and that is how it works.
He'd rather play Zach's team than yours.
Sean, do you think you're the worst person in general?
He's listening to himself.
That's not what he said.
You're the worst person.
He says his audio died.
So tell him to check Facebook. 'Cause I'm messaging him on Facebook and he's not responding.
Oh, man.
Holy shit. Okay. I guess until we get Zach back up, well, I don't want. If we can get him resolved in the next like minute or two, we'll keep it going. Otherwise, I'll just do my prediction. Already the longest podcast ever. We might actually get to 2 hours at this point.
So apparently, he says his headphones died.
Are they Wi-Fi? I mean, wireless?
I guess.
He should try talking. We can hear him.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we can hear him.
Holy shit. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just go much like you guys did when I was dealing with Ruby's
Ian.
Coops. Oh, he's getting his earbuds in now. Hello? Come in, Zach.
Hey, can you hear me?
Holy shit.
Yeah. What the fuck?
My bad. My headphones ran out of batteries and I had to charge
That's fine.
them.
So
I'm
you
allowed
literally
to
came back from the bathroom, turned your video off, turned it back on, and then all of a sudden started listening to something that was happening like 20 minutes ago.
Wait, could you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear what you were. Honestly, dude, I thought you thought like this was gonna be like that Zoom call situation where you thought like, well, I guess I'm just done for the thing, and thought you turned your camera off and was gonna start jerking off into the camera.
Holy fuck.
I'm like, what the
died.
fuck is he doing?
This is worth it. This is worth not sleeping.
So,
Okay.
I mean,
So
that didn't happen, so you guys can
No,
fuck off.
it didn't happen. I'm glad, but it was just kind of like, do you not think that you're not on camera right now? Like we didn't understand what was going on.
So
Oh my god. Okay, so Zach,
I'm
you're
going to
first.
go ahead and make my
We're
predictions
gonna go back
now.
to where we were. We're gonna say Zach's gonna talk now, right?
All right, what's the question?
I'm going to make my predictions right now. The question is, who do we have out of the Jerry and Window matchup? Right now, Jerry's projected a little over a 9-point favorite.
Oh, I already made that decision, but you should talk. You should talk first, and then I can get ready for the selection.
Okay. So, and if you want, I'll talk first. That way you can play it back and listen to it 20 minutes later.
Fuck you, Sean. I'm gonna fucking wreck you in baseball this week.
All right. So by the way, just so everyone knows, Zach is drunk.
I'm not drunk at all. I'm only on.
I'm not drunk yet.
I'm only on beer number 12 right now.
Zach, are you drunk enough to start a kicker who's like start the Jets kicker this week?
I'm not that bad, Sean. I know you're bad, but I'm not that bad.
All right. So here's the reason, and here's the funny thing: Window picked me, and Jerry picked Zach, and yet I'm picking Jerry, and I feel awful and guilty about it. But the reason why is much like the reason I think I have a decent shot this week. It's matchup based. Jerry has said he has a team built for the playoffs. I looked at his matchups this week. He's kind of right. There's a lot of matchups I love in his current starting lineup. Obviously, it's Aaron Rodgers is middle of the road against Carolina, but like it's Aaron fucking Rodgers, and Carolina's run defense isn't as good as their pass defense. Aaron Jones has another great matchup, one of the reasons Jerry traded for him in the first place. Austin Eckler plays one of the worst run defenses in the league in Vegas. Ridley and Keenan Allen both have kind of mediocre like good matchups for them. Mediocre defenses again. Tampa Bay and Las Vegas against wide receivers from a fantasy perspective. The Ravens D gets to go against Jacksonville. You know, I do think it's smart that he's starting Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders coming off a big week. You know, maybe they finally start the run. If Jerry doesn't start Aaron Rodgers, he's got Lamar Jackson against Jacksonville, coming off of a monster week, putting up 34. I'd be hard-pressed not to start Lamar Jackson there. I know it's Aaron Rodgers, you know, pissed off Aaron Rodgers has been a beast this year, but Lamar Jackson actually is the better matchup. But like, that's a good fucking problem to have if you're deciding between Lamar Jackson against Jacksonville at home, or Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau against Carolina. He just has a really good week of matchups. Not to mention the starting lineup of his players, excluding Lamar Jackson right now, is averaging like 123 a week, I think. It's a really, really good matchup for him. Windows matchups aren't bad by any stretch of the imagination. He's got some good ones, but he's also got some bad ones. Justin Herbert and Mike Davis have good ones. Gronk has a good one, although Gronk hasn't necessarily been averaging a great clip.
Pretty touchdown dependent.
Yeah, and I also
they actually aren't that great. But sorry,
the real challenge Windows going to have is all of his wide receivers are playing against top 10 fantasy defenses against wide receivers. Tyreek Hill going up against New Orleans. Michael Thomas, who is still questionable, going up against Kansas City. Robbie Anderson going up against Green Bay. And I'm not saying that's going to be a starting lineup because obviously he's got some good ones on his bench. I think. Well, actually, the real question is he doesn't have a lot of depth at wide receiver on his bench. Not that he wouldn't start. Like, he's going to start Tyreek, Michael Thomas, and Robbie Anderson, assuming they're all healthy. Thomas is the only questionable one. If Thomas is out, I'd flex. I don't know what you do. Do you start?
Patrick.
All right, so I guess you go Tim Patrick. There's also Lynn Bowden Jr. is a decent pickup. I was thinking about adding him.
Yeah, I picked him up because I thought you would pick him up.
You're right, and the reason why is he is a running back wide receiver, even though he is actually a wide receiver. And if Devontae Parker is out, which is entirely possible, he had the most targets in the game against Kansas City. It seems like he's the guy that's going to be next up for Tua to feed with the depleted Miami skill positions. So all that to say, I think Jerry's matchups are better. I think his team is built for the playoffs to an extent. I do think it's going to be closer than the projections currently indicate. I think every matchup is going to be close this week. But I am giving the edge to Jerry.
Yeah, no, I think it's... Sorry, is it my turn to talk?
Of course, sorry, I was going on a lot there.
No, it's okay. No, Jerry's team looks way stronger this week. And it's all about the matchups, right? Like I actually don't think it's even as close as the matchups show. Like, when I look at Jerry's matchups, they just look ridiculously strong. Like, you got fucking Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones both playing Carolina. You got Austin Eckler versus Vegas and Keenan Allen versus Vegas. You got Logan Thomas against Seattle. Like, Seattle's been fucking garbage this year, as a defense. I just think Jerry has a ridiculously good matchup this year. No, could Window win? Yes. It's obviously not like a slam dunk, but obviously I'm taking Jerry to win this week, and I think it's. If I had to put a percentage by it, I'd say okay, he's gonna win 70% of the time. I actually don't think it's that close.
So he's still talking.
That's pretty much down. Window. Obviously, she was good. Tyreek Hill could put up a fucking week.
Don't worry about it.
I want to hear what Window has to say.
No, yeah. Wait. Let me just real quick finish. Michael Thomas has the worst matchup that I've ever seen. He's playing Kansas City. Window, is Michael Thomas going to put up fucking 40 points against Kansas City? No. Could he put up 40 points against anyone else? Maybe. So that's all I'm saying.
That's fine.
I'll say I'm obviously taking Jerry.
Since you guys both picked for Jerry, I think it's fair for me to talk.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Jerry's team has actually been the best team if it wasn't for any of his injuries. He's dealt with so many injuries. His team is loaded. He's got 3 RB1s. No one in the league has RB1s. With Eckler, Jones, and Sanders. They're RB1s. I'm just saying when they're hurt, they don't perform. If you look back in our matchups, I'm pretty sure I benefited from a lot of his star players being hurt. And if I had to pick who's going to win, I would actually choose Jerry as well, just because of all those matchups and his starters. Like, I am starting a wide receiver at flex that has 2 touchdowns for the entire season, and he started an RB1 that might be carrying the ball for the rest of that game because it's a good matchup. But the only saving grace that I will have, and I'm praying for the medical gods and stuff, is maybe Kittle comes back this weekend. Maybe Sunday morning McCaffrey's ready to play. Maybe Eckler and what's his face? Keenan Allen are injured, and then I can start Balaj. But seriously, like, if there's no injury designation, and even without McCaffrey, actually I would say with McCaffrey and Kittle, I think it's a close matchup if they were healthy. But with those two out and Jerry's team being fully loaded healthy, minus the questionables, like, Jerry has a slider's edge on me.
Well done, Window. Jinx Jerry. I love it.
I was going to say, like, this isn't going to work, Window.
I wasn't trying to. I mean, like,
That's
all
awesome.
season long, when, like, Jerry, Zach, and I, and this happened in the past, like, the reason why I picked, Sean over Zach is because this is the first time Zach never supported me. But, like, when we watch games and we're messing each other, we're rooting for each other. Even when our players on the same team, like, we still root.
Window. This.
When I say root, we cheer for each other. But wait. Jerry always wishes ill luck on both of us. It's like, I hope your player gets COVID. I hope your player breaks a leg. I hope he gets injured.
I have never wished a serious injury on any player. I just want someone to roll their ankle just a little bit, just throughout the rest of the game. They'll be fine. Not going to affect their long-term career.
That's above board.
Okay.
I probably didn't work.
So
I know in multiple times I've been like, oh, nice, that guy got hurt, injured, and Jerry's like, wait, you're glad he got injured? And I was like, oh no, just this game.
So, anyways, Jerry even sent me a black cat earlier, or wished me bad juju in one of my matchups. So,
I will say, if there's any bad juju, you put it upon yourself.
That's fine.
In the preseason, I made you a ridiculous offer that I should have never made. I made that offer one other time. It was to McMillan, and he lost David Johnson for the rest of the year. And look what happened to Christian McCaffrey. I'm just saying, if I make you some ridiculous trade offer, people need to start taking it.
Did he make the playoffs that year?
No,
McMillan?
he came in dead last.
Well, it looks like I'm not going to be at dead last,
I don't know
so
if we won a game that
Jinx
year.
out.
That's what earned him Waffle House.
So, no, that was 2017 that it happened. But So, anyways, what I will say is, yes, I've said I kind of built some of my playoff situations some of my team for the playoff situations. I know you were kind of saying, like, maybe I saw that you sniped Kalen Balaj. That did happen just last night into this morning, right? I believe.
They were questionable and I did it this morning. Yeah, so this morning.
Well, I'm saying it was a Wednesday morning thing.
Yeah.
So part of the reason why I did not even put anything in for Kalen Balaj is, I don't know if you guys follow Austin Eckler on Twitch, but I do. And he did a long thing last night on Twitch where he streamed and talked about a lot of different things. He plays Among Us. He does a lot of cool things. Like,
pretty sus, bro.
He's really fucking fun.
Collusion.
He's also a really cool guy. But that was one of the first things people were like asking him, like, hey, are you playing? And he's like, why the fuck is everyone asking? Of course I'm playing. Like, what the fuck?
What's great about this is I'm gonna love when he pulls the same shit that Josh Jacobs did, only in reverse.
Too fucking cool.
Or Chris Carson.
Eckler's too fucking cool for that. It wouldn't happen. So no, Austin Eckler says he's playing. Ridley, I'm pretty sure it's just a
maintenance.
He was limited last week to going into it. Like, he's fine. The only one I'm a little worried about is Keenan Allen. I think he was a limited participant today in practice, so it's a little scary, especially with a Thursday matchup. Because if Keenan Allen doesn't go, I mean, one thing I will say is I have a couple of high upside replacements if Keenan Allen can't go. Keenan Allen's getting fucking like 12 catches a game right now. Like, his floor is so high you can't beat it. But like, if I had to throw in a Chase Claypool against Cincinnati or an Antonio Brown against Atlanta, like, it's very easy for one of those guys to get me 10 to 15 points. Like, they're both high upside against bad teams. So, like, it's not, like, terrible for me. I don't want that to be the case. Like, Keenan Allen, I'm pretty sure, is the number, like, 5 wide receiver in fantasy football. So, don't want that to happen. Yeah, I mean, the matchups is the big thing. I think he obviously, like, I'm afraid of Tyreek Hill. He is playing against a good defense in the Saints, top 10 for wide receivers against. Ken and Drake, top 10 opponent. Michael Thomas, Kansas City's literally number 2 against wide receivers, which is surprising. Like, Kansas City just doesn't seem to put teams away. You'd think, like, oh, they have this high-powered offense. They should be taking leads and teams should be having to throw a lot. But, like, they've kind of let teams stick around. Like, yes, I am picking myself, but I will say that I am afraid of Tyreek Hill just dropping like 50 points on me. That is what I am scared of right now.
As well you should be. And remember, just to be clear about the history between you two, you do only have one time that you've played previously, even though Windows only been in the year for this is the second season now. And I
thought I was a rookie.
I corrected this motherfucker. Brad called me out on it, and he's right. You guys played in the Sacko semifinal last year. Jerry won that convincingly by more than 30. It's gonna be interesting for sure. Can Window make the finals? Actually, Zach has already been to one championship. Window has not. This would be his first title appearance. Jerry has made this would be number 3 for him if he can do it again. And it would be my 4th time in the finals. And as far as semifinal records, Zach is, I want to say, 1 for 3 in the semifinals so far. Jerry is 2 for 4. I am 3 for 4, and Window obviously has not been here before. So, just a little historical.
I'm due to win, and then I'll be 2 for 4.
Also, like, obviously, right now, my lineup is looking like it's kind of what Zach said. It's probably what's going to happen, but there could be some changes. Like, it's still a very Zach goes offline again. It's still a very real possibility that.
Yo, calm the fuck down. I'm online.
Okay. It's still a real possibility. Like, Evan Ingram also plays against Cleveland. Cleveland's 31st against tight ends. Like,
yep.
Just the Giants just looked so bad last week. I don't think Daniel Jones is actually healthy. So, like, that's still up in the air. And I don't know. See, I have a tendency to do this. There was early on in the league, I had a situation where I could have and probably should have won 3 consecutive titles.
Oh, here we go.
No, but there's a reason that I'm saying this. It's specific to this. I won a title. The next year I had a solid team. Colin Kaepernick was going off every fucking week, and then he had a tough matchup, and I benched him. The quarterback that I put in place got me like 2 fucking points. Colin Kaepernick had like another 30-point day. I lose. I think I put up like 150 in what would have been the championship. I ended up getting 3rd place. I had another situation very similar. I actually think it was the year before I won my title. Where it was actually a year that it was the year before I won my title. I'm pretty sure we had 8 teams in the league. We did a double matchup for semis and a double matchup for finals. And in one of my double matchups, I had both Tom Brady and Michael Vick, and it was the year Michael Vick was out of his mind. I benched Michael Vick. Tom Brady had an okay day. I think he had like 18, but Michael Vick dropped like a 40-point game. I lose the double week matchup to Rick Toms in the year that he won his title by like 5 fucking points. And I'm sitting here looking right now at Lamar Jackson playing Jacksonville. And I'm wondering, do I bench Aaron Rodgers for Lamar Jackson? And I just don't know. Like, how you, like, Lamar Jackson coming off of his best game of the year, and he also gets one of the bottom 3 defenses in the NFL. How do I bench him? Someone explain that to me.
You just start someone else. You just start Minshew.
I honestly don't. I will tell you that if I were in your position, not that it matters, if I were in your position, I would probably I would start Jackson. I don't think, like, even as good as Aaron Rodgers has been, you play the better guy. It also depends. The only way you can justify benching.
So that's just it. Aaron Rodgers is a top 3 guy this year.
No, I agree. I agree. It depends also. It also depends on like what you need, right? Like on one hand, like again, the reason I'm comfortable starting Phillip Rivers is because I know that the rest of my team, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, I don't need him to go out and get 30. I need him to get somewhere in the ballpark of 15 to 20. I need that. I need him not to get 10. If you feel like I think Aaron Rodgers has a very high floor and also a high ceiling. But the higher ceiling player is obviously Lamar in a very good matchup, in a very favorable matchup. I think you have 2 top 5 quarterbacks this week, but if there's one who's more likely to blow up, it's like I'm saying, like, if there's one who's more likely to blow up, it's Lamar. If there's one who's more likely to bust, it's Lamar. So it's how much are you willing to take that risk? You know, how much do you need him to blow up? And I just want to say, I appreciate all of you guys sticking out this podcast because we have officially gone over 2 hours. And Zach is no longer even here.
Lamar's actually done better than I thought he has.
So Zach is now gone.
I don't know what happened to Zach. Like
His computer died probably.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers just wire to wire has been better. I don't know. It's one of those. I don't know what to do.
Well, anyway, we'll see who you start because that's our show. Thank you guys, and I would thank Zach too. I assume he's probably done for the night. But thank you guys for being on the podcast for this virtual one. I hope the sound, when we look back on it, is going to be better than it was before. I know there were some kinks with the videos. Obviously, that was because of, like, you know, still working with the software and figuring that out. We can try to work that out again in the future. But I think this shows that the format is at least viable to an extent. And I'll try to, you know, fine-tune it and figure out a way that we can make sure that if we can get everyone in there without having the different size windows and things like that. So, but I really appreciate you guys coming on here for as long as we did. And I hope everybody enjoys the content. So, good luck to both of you. Fuck Zach. And I'll see one of you in the championship.
Tell me how you really feel, Sean. I think you've been holding back.
Can you make a compilation of the amount of times Jerry has said, like, Zach's team sucks or something equivalent to that?
I should. I should go back on previous podcasts.
Zach's team is overrated.
And then just end it with, like, I'm picking Zach.
Is there any... Okay, here's my thing. Obviously, I didn't like it going into the year. But if you're looking at his team, do you really think that's an 11-win team?
No.
Like if he had my schedule, I don't know if he'd be 500.
I mean, I don't know,
do you think
but
he's 7-6? If you think he's 7-6 with my schedule,
I'm now. Hold on.
I might put that all together.
I just want to look something up really
like
quick.
What everybody would have had if they had everybody else's schedule.
0-1. I'm just looking up my record against Zach's this year. 0-2.
He barely beat me, and we both had under 100 games.
1-2. 2-2. 2-3.
You actually also had one of the better schedules, Sean.
No, I'm saying just my points against Zach's 3-3. Like if we 4-3. I'm just curious.
If you played each other every.
If we played each other every week. 4-4. 4-5. 5-5. Right down the middle so far. 5-6. 6-6. Oh, 6-7, and then I would have been in the 7-7. We have split our. If we had played each other every week, it would be a 7-7.
So now do me and window.
All right, I'll do it real quick, and then I'm getting offline. Hold on.
Do me first. I can leave first.
Hold on.
It's literally it's us two against each other.
I got it. I'm looking. Hold
We
on.
both of us at the same time.
Jerry one. I'm gonna do Jerry's record first. 1-0. I'm gonna Jerry's gonna be the first team in my listing, is what I mean.
Wait, are we not doing? I thought you literally were doing what? Wait, are you doing who was the other person's schedule, or if you played?
No. If I played Zach every week, we would have had a 7-7 record between the two of us. I'm doing you in window now, and I'm putting your team first in that listing.
Oh, okay. So
it's 1-1 right now. Ooh, that was a close one. 1 and 2 in favor of window. 1 and 3.
This is gonna jinx me.
2 and 3. 2 and 4. 3 and 4. 3 and 5. 3 and 6.
Here's my comeback.
Yeah, seriously,
You're
Jerry's
right. Then 4 and 6.
I wish I played Jerry last week.
4 and 7. 4 and 8. 5 and 8. And 5 and 9 in favor of window.
Yeah, but Jerry's due for this weekend, so we'll see.
We will see.
Have fun at work, Jerry.
Well, I'm not at work.
Oh. Have fun
No,
outside?
I'm outside because when it started snowing and stuff today, it's like I realized I didn't have anything to clean my car off. So I moved and parked my car in a garage.
Oh.
Now that all the weather has stopped, I'm going to go get my car now so I don't have to do it in the
Jerry.
in the garage right by your place.
Ah. I could have driven it over to you if you wanted me to.
If you want to come here and get my keys and then drive it over here.
Well, I'm going to let you boys go and figure that out privately, but thank you guys again for being on the
Sean,
podcast.
I got my license on Friday.
And I will talk to y'all Sunday on the Facebook page. Remember, if you haven't done it, $5 to whoever can guess all 3 matchups correctly. Sacko and our playoff matchups.
Oh, shit. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Right. See you guys.